Welcome back to the finale of What If Darth Maul Revived his brother Savage. Thank you to those of you who watched any of the other parts. To recap what happened in those videos if you haven't seen them, Maul had used Ezra Bridger to revive Savage, then find Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi, but after failing to kill their old foe and later Vader, they had taken hold of an Imperial Star Destroyer. We join the brothers as they are being called together with the rest of the Imperial fleet. Maul stood at the head of the bridge and listened to the communications passing between the other ships as they all converge on the terrifying space station. Before leaving for the hangar, Maul ensures to relay their location to the rebel base, and they enter separate fighters to the Death Star. The Zabraks use all of their stealth to descend into one of the less occupied hangar bays. The Imperial troopers form a guard of honour, and Maul realises they cannot stay still for long as Vader's shuttle approached them, so they quietly leapt out and scuttled behind some supply crates. There they witness a thoroughly angry Vader stomp out of his ship, but bow to greet the previously hidden Emperor. Palpatine was not concerned by Vader's failure to apprehend Maul, as he had anticipated the Zabrak moving to him, but as Vader mentioned the appearance of Savage, Sidious's eyes narrowed into unrivaled levels of fury. Maul led Savage into the empty corridors, and into an area where they could observe the airspace, as the rebel ships finally formed in the distance. Maul and Savage waited patiently until the station started to shake and become fully operational, as they aimed to leave, but they were stopped by Palpatine. If Vader could not destroy the Zabraks, he would be forced to complete the task himself, and he launched a lightning attack at Savage. Maul blocked her using his lightsaber, but they were beginning to fold under the power until they cut a hole in the ceiling and jumped to the upper level. Palpatine was forced to abandon his chase as rebel ships begin their attack after bypassing through the Imperial blockade via Maul's abandoned Star Destroyer, and Vader led the squadron of Imperial fighters in pursuit of the rebel X-Wing starfighters. But these starfighters had been a distraction as the primary assault led by Hera Syndulla fired into the defences of the battle station and dropped off his combatants. Obi-Wan Kenobi, Ahsoka Tano and Luke Skywalker were supported by Ezra and Kanan as they tackled the Imperial security forces. The light side users are also assisted by a group of rebel officers, and very soon they split up to disable the tractor beam and begin the internal destruction of the Death Star. As Obi-Wan scurried along the level 6 corridor to the tractor beam, he had to hide behind a corner as he saw that Palpatine was dueling Maul and Savage across the narrow beams. It was obvious that the Emperor continued to toy with his opponents, casually pushing Savage off of the edge, and Obi-Wan decides to save him by holding him with the Force. Maul is able to pull him back to the surface, giving the Jedi Master more time as he deactivates the power grid, then transmits the location of the Sith to the rebels. The Jedi and Ahsoka, however, were occupied by Vader, who had destroyed the first wave of rebel pilots before being recalled by Palpatine. The Sith calmly deflected most of their strikes before slowly realising that Luke was in fact his son, and he asked him to join him and defeat the Emperor. Luke refused and helped Ahsoka fight a towering machine, and although his technique was erratic, Luke's intense determination pushed Vader into retreating into a turbolift. Ahsoka and Luke follow him as Kanan and Ezra battle the Imperial reinforcements in the hangar and find Vader run to another lift to the throne room. As the lift doors open, their ears begin to ring from Palpatine's cackles as he threw Maul and Savage around the room, then sneered at the new arrivals. Palpatine projected a lightning attack, and Luke and Ahsoka writhed in pain until the lift doors opened again and out leapt Obi-Wan and Yoda. The Grand Master had received the pleas of Senator Organa and had arrived in time to block the attack as Maul helped his brother to his feet, then jumped at Palpatine. The Emperor let out a huge roar and shook everything in the room, but the Zabraks were not deterred and plunged their lightsabers into the Sith Lord before the inevitable explosion stopped the battle. Later on, Kanan and Ezra ascended the lift to the throne room and looked at the combatants scattered across the floor. To their relief, all of the Sith had died other than Vader, who was heavily injured, and Yoda finally got up. The Grand Master lifted the Jedi Ahsoka and Vader out of the room and to the rebel cruiser, watching as the Death Star imploded. With the help of Luke, Vader managed to avoid the death sentence from the New Republic and began to move away from the dark side. The Rebel Alliance under Senator Organa and Mon Mothma never forgot the sacrifice made by Maul and Savage. That is it for What If Darth Maul Revived his brother. If you enjoyed this What If, please like this video, turn on that notification bell, click that subscribe button on this channel, as well as on my other channel What If Films. And as always, leave a comment on what if you'd all like to see next, and how I can improve my videos. Thank you all very much for watching, and see you next time.